snap back after I have kids and that everything is all situated and organized so that all you have to do is come home with your in your hand and eat the meal that I made you. I don't think so. I'm so sorry. This is unrelated, but I love when you wear pants like this and they're like a little bit too big and then they do the thing where it looks like you have a little penis.
My penis has never done that. I'll be honest. Not to dash your dreams.
No. I'm not saying it, but look, see how it's like all folded?
Yeah, I guess
you put your shirt over it and like, look how ridiculous.
If you were doing, I mean, it would be really high up. It's like coming out of your belly button. If you're okay with that, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe it translates better when you have low-rise jeans on, but I like the little fold. I think it's so funny looking.
I don't even know.
It's funny.
Also, I ate spicy food again. Why do I keep doing this to myself?
I don't know. Okay, can I just tell you guys?
So good.
Yeah, okay, that's very nice, and that's like a normal food. But what Aaron had for dinner last night, do you want to tell the class about what you ate for dinner?
No, it's a menu item. It's not like I ordered something special.
No, I know.
It's so good, but it's exactly what I want.
Wild.
It's called the 911 burrito.
Yeah, what does it have in it?
Jalapenos.
That's like it.
No, it has chicken and onions and jalapenos, but it's like nice long slices. It's like fajitas, but with jalapenos. But they keep them so hot. Yeah. Like they're so fucking spicy, but they don't put anything else in there. I'm like, I'm getting
because there's nothing else in there. Because that's a wild thing to order.
But also, I think it's crazy because, again, I don't even like eating food. Yeah. I like having substances to transport condiments.
Yeah, you do.
Because I essentially like killed
and
half
also
a tub.
Spicy things.
Half a tub of sour cream. To eat this burrito, like I have to have the sour cream to eat the burrito.
But I'm not like
it's so
one.
Good, huh? It's peppers and chicken.
No, I know, but it's just funny because you're like putting a half tub of sour cream on your burrito, and everyone's like, Mickey must be so unhealthy. I bet she just eats a bunch of fucking like butter on a stick, and you're out here being like with a spoon eating sour cream as your meal.
I need it. I like it. Okay.
No, I think that's totally valid. That's like a very normal human thing. It's just funny that people love to throw the book at me for being unhealthy. And like, have you met this man?
I have to resist the urge.
Have you seen him eat?
Okay. I have to resist the urge to not put hot sauce in the sour cream too, because the Chipotle Tabasco and sour cream is literally
an elite
the
experience.
Best. If you haven't had it, go change that. I promise you, it's the perfect amount of hot. Like I said, every culture has their hot food, their hot sauce, really and a cooling element.
Yes.
Mayonnaise.
Okay,
buffalo sauce.
But can we talk about what is the cooling element in like Japanese food? Because we have this. But you can't put mayonnaise in like ramen that's too hot.
No, you're right. Japanese. What is Japanese?
Because no, I think that's you're probably correct. But like, what do you do? Because like in
liquid food,
with
though,
like
it's hard.
Mexican soup, if it's too hot, you put sour cream in it. You know. But like, what do you do if you have soup that's too spicy?
I think it's
but
because
it's
the
like
base is what makes. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you just add more broth? I guess.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I don't know.
Please help us, because this has happened to us more than once. Where like we'll order ramen from a takeout place, or like we'll make soup at home, and it's too spicy, and then I'm like, I don't know what to do.
I don't know how to cool off Asian food.
You just like sort of, I don't know, muscle through.
Because sriracha and mayo in my heart goes together.
Yes, but
sour cream and hot sauce.
I feel putting mayo in soup,
buffalo sauce and ranch.
Ramen feels wrong. That doesn't feel right.
No, I would never. That's disgusting.
Yeah. Please advice.
Because there's a place here that has such good. They have that spicy broth ramen, and it tastes so good.
Yeah.
I can't drink the broth. It's so hot.
It's so hot.
It's so hot.
Like,
also, it comes with the fried chicken.
Sniffing it makes my nose all. That's not for me.
What's that seasoning that makes your tongue go numb?
I think it happens with Sichuan peppercorns.
Is that what it is?
Those
are crazy. Yeah. I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah, we got hot pot one time, and you got the spicy broth, and you had a bellyache for days.
I have a sensitive stomach.
A sensitive stomach,
but I think that also might be because of the hot food.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I don't think you really have actually that sensitive of a stomach. I think it's that you will push the limits of your biology with spicy food and then be like, surprise me, get you when it hurts you.
I did learn my lesson after the wings that one time, though. We don't need to get into that. I got the second from the farthest, the hot wings.
Oh, God.
It wasn't the Carolina Reaper ones. It was something else.
No, we went to a bar or not a bar, it's like a pub by our house.
Best wings in town.
Because they have Wing Wednesday and they're like $1 a wing, which is like a pretty good deal, I feel. And they have like the menu, like the flavors. They have a bunch of flavors all listed on this like gradient of like least hot to most hot. And we ordered, I think it was like hummingbird something or other. It was like a dry rub wing.
Yours, what? Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, this can't be that bad. You know, it's got like 2 peppers next to it. But like, it's also too like, context is that Tucson is like a very like pretty heavily populated with Mexican people, but there's also a lot of retirees and like white people here. So there's a lot of Mexican food that sometimes is like, watch out,
some restaurants,
it's so spicy. And then you're like, is it though?
Like,
and you order it and it's like totally fine. So I was banking on that assumption. And then we got them, and I took 1 bite, and I was like, "Oh no, no!"
It's like that thing, like when you do the cinnamon challenge.
Yeah,
because they were coated. Obviously, like, I would never complain about powder. Them being coated well, but also like literally just like
the dry rub. Yeah, you could like blow it off of there like confetti. There was so much of it, and so you ate all of my super, super, super spicy wings, and it wrecked your stomach. And
I've not done that again, and I won't do that again.
Which honestly, I commend you for that. You learned your lesson, and isn't that really the goal of life?
I think that is the life. And speaking of learning life,
I was gonna say that.
You want to say it at the same time?
Speaking of life
lessons.
I was gonna say, speaking of someone who refuses to learn from their.
Okay, perfect. Can I start this section? I also think, because I got my
We're going to talk about Ethan from Plathville. Prepare yourselves.
This is going to be we're going to use Ethan as an example.
Yeah, we're going to make an example out of this man.
I'm so sorry. I was having some reflections on this.
Ooh,
and I think
I
would like to begin this passage with a reading real quick. I think a lot less people would be religious if they could just have
Mark
really loud speakers.
23:4. That was a Catholic joke and you didn't pick that up.
I didn't pick it up. I apologize.
Remember when we had to go to church and they would do the readings and you just have to sit there and go... Listen to someone. Yeah, you went to mass with me a few times.
Oh, yeah. When I used to go to church regularly with my parents when I was younger, I would go and sit in the bathroom for like 15 minutes. Like, I would literally go in the bathroom and just like tear toilet paper off. And like,
stop!
I don't know why no one said anything. I'd be in the bathroom for a long time. I would just like walk up and down the hallway.
This kid's shitting.
I have vivid memory. I'd just be walking up and down the hallway. Also, churches always be having the coldest AC. That shit would be so nice.
My parents would have whooped my ass.
Yeah, no, I would just be like, oh, gotta go. And I would just go disappear for like 15 minutes.
No, my mom would have come and found me in the bathroom and we would have had words.
I can't tell if it's either that thing where it felt like more time when I was a kid, but like I would be exploring because the church is like the middle and then there's like a U for like the outside hallways and stuff into the classrooms and stuff.
Oh my God.
What?
You were just wandering around and no one found you? Is that not normal?
You? No, because everyone was in church where they were supposed to be. No. It was the best time to use the bathroom and explore.
Oh my God. That's hilarious. Please, thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Be more engaged, you know?
That was absolutely not my experience. I would get dirty looks from my mom if I was like not looking like I was paying rapt enough attention. No. It was... really
I was one step away from the Game Boy.
When we were like little, to be fair, they did let us bring coloring books and stuff so that we would just be fucking quiet.
Yeah.
But so they weren't like really being like the worst about trying to make us absorb things. Like my mom told me horror stories about growing up when they would get out of mass. Her parents, mostly her dad, would be like, "What'd you learn today?" If they didn't have a good answer that was like related to mass, then like they had words. And so they didn't do that to us growing up, but they were still pretty litigious or like legalistic about us. Like there are rules, like pay attention.
No,
I would not have gotten away with that. That's incredible. I love that. I'm for glad you, I did Punk.
That. Yeah, I think I just knew it wasn't for me from the beginning.
That's so cute. Okay, I'm so sorry.
No,
please. Tell us about your reflections on Ethan.
Well, actually, this is also I didn't realize the title. I would like to share a passage from Father Time by Kendrick Lamar. And I didn't realize it's Father Time, like spending time with your father, but also Father Time.
Yeah.
Like, goddamn,
Kendrick
probably the smartest person.
Kendrick Lamar is a poet laureate. I feel like people should really like respect that more.
I think, and when also people talk about like them having like there's college classes dedicated to
the man is a fucking Pulitzer.
It's crazy. This is amazing.
Incredible.
Literally incredible. And till then, let's give the women a break. Grown men with daddy issues.
Oh, it's Ethan. Hello.
It's Ethan, and actually, really,
and also mommy issues
in
too.
In so many ways, a lot of us. And I think really, this is where we get to the labor part. I think so. I know today we're going to discuss the 4B movement.
Yes,
we are doing our best to keep stuff locked in. We do our best, but it's a conversation.
Also, we're gay and neurodivergent. I don't know what you want from me.
We're doing our best.
There are other pieces of content both on this channel and on the internet broadly that don't do what we do, which is lose the plot like 3 times a minute. So if you don't like that, I think that's totally fine. You're allowed to not like it, but I'm not going to put a leash on myself when I'm my boss.
You are the boss.
I make my own rules.
Am I the boss too or no?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, here you are.
Fuck yeah.
I got a whole master's degree so that I could throw it in the toilet and just like fucking on the internet once a week, twice a week, really.
Twice a week.
So, you know, I'm not going to waste that opportunity, really, is what I'm saying.
Say less. Anyways, though, yeah, I think what an excellent quote. The women need a break.
Yes.
Femme-presenting people need a break.
Yes.
And I think
basically non-men need a break.
And I was reflecting on this because in one of the episodes of Plathville, as we were revisiting it on the stream, I know we keep coming back to this, but this is going to be a really great life lesson to learn, I think, especially, and I don't think this is so much for the men in our audience, because I think if you're here, you're probably a little bit more... a
little bit more dialed in.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, the AC turned off, and while I want it to be fall, it's very much not fall
it is
here
still not
yet.
Fall here.
So we got distracted. Okay, so what do you... Oh, quick disclaimer also. In this section, we're going to talk about the 4B movement and like how much Ethan Plath sucks, and also about how like cis men generally really need to like fucking pick it up. But we're just going to use binary language for the sake of trying to avoid the word salad, because we have trouble dialing it in already. So when we use the term women, really what we're referring to is like not cis men. Anybody who's not a cis man. We're going to like try to use that language, but like just disclaimer, just don't yell at me, please. Okay, please continue. Sorry, I interrupted you.
So I was just thinking, I guess I was just reflecting.
Yeah.
Because Ethan was talking about like, he's talking about their relationship and reflecting on their divorce and then breaking up. And basically, essentially, Olivia's being like, hey, you don't talk to me, yada, yada, yada. Like, I don't feel emotionally taken care of. And he's like, what are you talking about? I do the oil and I take care of chores and like do labor essentially.
Yeah.
But like, if it's not the right type of labor, like it doesn't matter.
Yes. So what they're talking about, Ethan is basically trying to set the record straight, because there is a flashback in this sequence where he made a comment at the end of last season saying something about how like, you know, I think that, you know, we should have 3 meals a day. And then he like looks at Olivia and it's like, when's the last time you cooked a meal?
Oh,
and
fuck,
it's this like very disgusting, like misogynistic moment. And I think for good reason he got reamed both on the internet and like traditional media for saying something that fucking gross. And he is like sitting down in this talking head in like episode 8 or 9 of Plathville, trying to set this record straight about like, well, that's not why I said it. What I meant was that like, you know, when we first got married, I felt very loved because we did, you know, have like homemade meals, and Olivia did cook for me a lot. And that's a way that I feel loved. He used the phrase again that like the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. More than once he used this phrase. So that's what he was like trying to justify this gross and disgusting thing that he said by being like, well, you know, I take care of all these other things so that Olivia doesn't have to like worry about them. And so I just think if I'm taking care of those things, then like she should take care of me in the way that I want to be taken care of, which is like cook me meals, basically.
I just don't understand. Like, you could like pay someone else to do that service without like, it's just like a service. Like, it's not like actually compassion or...
No. And the other thing about it too is that it's not as though he's saying, you know, I miss this part of our marriage where we would cook together, or like I miss us sitting down to share a meal together and talk about our days, or like the connection that comes from sharing a meal at home or whatever. It was literally just like, I want you to cook for me. I don't really give a fuck if we're sharing the food, if we sit down together, or if there is that connection factor. It's more so that I just want you to do this service for me. You're right, which is like so gross.
And I think full disclosure too, because I did that. Like, that was my understanding of like a very transactional.
Yes.
Like, if I do this thing, then like labor equals love, right? Like, if I take care of this thing, or like taking care, because you made such a good point. You're like, how often are you changing the oil in someone's car?
Yes.
Like, but like most severe cases, really like a couple times, or like once every couple of months.
Yes, that's the thing that gets me about the way that men talk about like this exchange of labor in relationships, where like, you know, I think that women should take care of our kids, and women should cook our food and clean our house and do all of these things, because you know, who's going to change your oil if I leave? Like, who's going to mow the lawn if I'm not around? And like, First of all, I can hire someone to do that. But second of all, you're doing that once every couple of months?
Yeah.
Once every few weeks? Cooking 3 meals a day, every
single day
for the rest of our lives is a thing that you think is proportional to you mowing the frickin' lawn every once in a while.
Give me a fucking break.
The fuck?
Yeah.
Like, besides the fact that this transactional view, like the sort of piggy bank thing, where like I'll put a coin in your piggy bank and you put one in mine and therefore we're in love, that's like a gross fallacy. It's also not equal, right? Like you're putting a coin in her piggy bank once every couple of months and she's putting like 12 in yours every day.
Every fucking day.
Like you're in a deficit, sir. So like pick it up.
I think
you know?
It's that thing too where like the like stereotypical like the gender roles where it's like, oh, men do the outside and women do the inside kind of a thing.
Yes.
Like
which is also dumb.
What a fucking metaphor for like emotional intelligence and relationships and stuff. But also,
my God,
too,
you're so right. Yes,
because also too, all of these like things like like masculine, like changing the oil and doing stuff outside and like is all stuff away, and also like doesn't actually really directly benefit.
No,
it's the like cleaning the gutters thing.
Yes,
that we talked about. Yeah, if you want to explain that.
Yeah, Aaron and I have this phrase that has just sort of become like shorthand for like you're missing the point.
You're lost in the sauce. Yeah.
Because there is this weird phenomenon. It became a joke on TikTok like a few years ago around the time of Thanksgiving, where people would talk about this strange thing that happens around Thanksgiving dinner where their moms would be, prepping the turkey and cleaning the house and setting the table and like doing all this cooking and, getting herself dressed and ready and getting all the kids dressed and ready and making sure that everybody's all situated, doing all this stuff. And dad's outside cleaning the gutters out before Thanksgiving dinner.
For the family.
Yeah. Or like power washing the deck. Like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why? That's not helpful. And it's a weird thing. Like a lot of people were just talking about how like, oh my God, I thought it was just my dad that did this. He's out there like cleaning out the shed right now.
In the weeds, literally.
Yes, and so it's this funny. It's not funny, but it's like a funny phrase that you and I have used in shorthand to talk about how like when I need help with something or we have agreed like, okay, we're going to do this project, and you're like, okay, awesome, like, well, like it happens a lot, or not a lot, but like. We use this phrase most frequently when we're cleaning the house. That's like a whole thing where...
You are very particular about it.
Well, because we've talked on the channel before that like you're a tidier and I'm a cleaner.
Yeah.
And so you're also like you're very much a Virgo sometimes in the way that you're just like, there's a system. There's a way, and so I'll be like cleaning and trying to get everything like situated and whatever. And you'll be in your office, like developing a system to organize the cords that we use to charge all of our various devices. And I'll be like, dog, what are you doing?
That's not helping me right now. Yeah.
No, I'm out here like mopping the floors and you're like you're power washing the gutters, you know, is what with the phrase that we use. Mm-hmm. So that's what that means. But I think it is just kind of that where like, what Olivia was asking for is emotional investment and to be seen and valued and to like, at the very least, just have her emotions be told like that they're okay. And Ethan was like, yeah, but I got to change the oil. Yeah. I gotta go fix this car that I bought that you asked me not to buy that's being stored at a separate location that I'm going to have to be away from you for several weeks. So gotta go.
Literally.
Like,
I wonder too, because Ethan talking about it too, because I was like, obviously I had the same, like at his age, I had the same outlook. You know what I'm saying? Like the same like, because I used to, like, that was the thing. Like I would take care of all the like.
Oh yes, but you never like.
Stuff. Not like to that degree or
held
whatever.
Me
no.
You know.
No, of course not. But I mean, like, it's just interesting to me too, because I'm like, is that like a societal thing that's pushed on us? Like, where are we learning that? Because like, my parents are anywhere near. Like the same as, I mean, you know, in some ways.
Yeah. But, your parents aren't fundies for sure.
No. In no way, shape, or form. Yeah,
not by any stretch of the imagination.
And especially not my dad.
No.
But like where, like we just all, it's just like ingrained in us.
Yeah.
Like it's just interesting that that's something we have to like unlearn.
Yes. Well, I think it's also that thing that even if your parents specifically aren't embodying these like highly misogynistic attitudes.
Is that just what it is? Yeah.
It still leaches into things, right? Because like your family of origin is sort of unique in the sense that like the breadwinning is backwards, right? And your dad wasn't necessarily a very like afraid of femininity kind of person
at all.
But there were definitely aspects of misogyny there.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to put your family's shit in the street, but like there were like bits and pieces of that showed up that were just sort of assumed You know, I mean, and my family was like very similar. You know, it was just expected that my mom would stay home with me and my brother.
Yeah.
While my dad went and worked like 2-3 jobs when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And so that was just like the way that it was. And it's also, I think, an interesting case study in the way that our childhood experiences so thoroughly shape our understanding of the world.
Yeah.
People ask all the time
without
about
realizing
like
it too, like
about like conflict resolution and communication in like couples therapy and stuff when they're having issues working that stuff out. Like, you know, like, why don't you get what I'm trying to tell you? Or like, why can't you just like listen to me? And it's because the way that your parents dealt with conflict or the way that the adults in your life dealt with conflict become this assumed value for you. That's just like the way that people do things, but like it's not, obviously.
I always think it's so interesting too, and I know we keep going back to Plathville and stuff too, but it's just kind of an interesting study too, or like an interesting view, is that like, because Olivia clearly was like able to unlearn a lot of the stuff.
Yes.
So it's like when there's this weird commitment from the men, it's because it favors them.
I was gonna say, you know why, don't you?
The answer, obviously.
Yes, it's because it's valuable or like
in their
beneficial. It's beneficial for men to just sort of like lean backwards and say, I don't want to unlearn this, right? Because for every woman like Olivia who is saying, I'm not doing that, I'm putting my foot down, this sucks, right? I'm choosing to pursue a life either with another partner who gets it or by my fucking self because I'd literally rather be alone. That's another thing that she talked about, is that like actually being divorced and alone feels less lonely to her than being in a relationship with Ethan. And there are lots of people who choose to pursue that, but for every one of those people, there is another person who is like doing the pick me thing that will say like, you know, I just love being, you know, trod upon, uncared for, not emotionally valued person. So pick me, pick me, pick me. And because there are people like that exist, Ethan is like, oh, thank God, somebody gets it.
Find another one.
Yeah. Or, you know, I think it's also the thing that it is viewed as feminine, which is therefore bad, to process your emotions.
Oh, yeah.
To think through your own feelings. That's like feminine, which is obviously gay and bad and obviously terrible and like disgusting and, you know, effeminate and weak also.
Like the question is like, is it gay to not care about your relationship until it falls apart? Like,
is it gay to love your wives, fellas?
Yeah.
Like it's literally that.
No, honestly.
Yeah.
So with all that, so the 4B movement.
Okay, I want to talk about the 4B movement
can you
today.
fill me in on that? Because I'm a little
Because we talked about it briefly
ignorant.
on the stream. I mean, in essence, we can like look something up and read an actual definition, but in essence, it's a movement of people. From my understanding, it didn't originate in the United States. We'll look all of that up in a second. But in essence, the 4B movement is a bunch of people, mostly women, who are choosing to abstain from relationships with men because they're not beneficial to women. Again, we're using binary language for the purpose of ease. Because they're not beneficial to women. And also because it's kind of this like concerted protest to say that like, we don't need you, right? Like we have very beautifully intimate relationships with our friends and our communities and our families, not necessarily in a romantic context, but just that we don't need emotional fulfillment from relationships with men. Like we don't need you, right? And so on top of the fact that we don't need you, it's also not worth it to like endanger ourselves and continue to provide benefit to people who are not willing to do the work. So until y'all are willing to do the work, we're not doing it, right? Like we will buy a vibrator and have brunch with our friends every Sunday and live our best lives and like get fucked, basically, is kind of the vibe of that, which is, I think, gaining a lot of popularity because it is like, generally speaking, really unbeneficial to women to be in relationship with men.
Yeah.
Let me look some stuff up, but what are your thoughts about that? Because I know that's kind of new.
I have like a crazy, like, and I don't think this is actually happening, but I feel like I kind of just want to say this out loud in case I am right, or like if there's some truth to it.
Okay.
I guess, so obviously societally, like misogyny and stuff obviously affects women. And, you know.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me that like within the last couple of years, like I know there's always been like dating advice and like what's that movie, Hitch? Isn't it his whole job is to like help men.
Pickup artists.
Yeah, pickup artists. Yes, thank you. So like there's always been like male dating advice.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like how to talk to women because they're so crazy. They're from a different planet. You know, like they're not like people.
Yes, exactly.
Which obviously is a very misogynistic take. So anyways, there's like been this involvement evolvement of this over time. I also think it's interesting that, like, obviously everything nowadays is like, I feel like 100, like amped up to 11.
Yes.
Like also like the alpha male, the alpha bro.
Yeah, the alpha
shit.
male dating advice and shit.
You know what I'm saying? So like with the like appearance of all that and like the escalation of it.
Yeah.
I'm just like connecting these dots because it'd be curious to me.
Yeah.
This can sound wild.
No.
I'm not like actually.
Are you gonna say something problematic?
No, I don't think so. But like just between like the Russia spending money on propaganda on right-wing influencers. Hold on, just follow me for a second.
Okay.
Because obviously, like, but with the 2016 election, like we know for a fact, like there was
that did happen. Yes.
And there was clear Russian influence to like sway the election.
Sure.
Obviously, clearly it worked, and like disinformation campaigns, right? Mm-hmm. Like the internet and stuff at large, like.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just explaining it. I'm gonna sound. I feel like I'm not that crazy for saying this.
I'm afraid of what you're gonna say. But
no, I'm just saying. What if like people are getting paid? Because like we always ask ourselves these questions, like with the alpha bro dating advice and stuff.
I need you to get to the point because you're stressing me out, man.
No, okay, I'm just gonna say like, what if it was like a purposeful attempt to like pushing bad information to make men shittier and worse at dating to like. It sounds so crazy.
No, just keep going. Okay. I'm just trying
to make men shittier and worse at dating. To be clear, misogyny and stuff already existed.
Yeah.
And like men already suck are bad enough because they have no like.
I was afraid that you were going to say the 4B movement is Russian propaganda, and I was like, sir, no.
No. I feel like it's a response to what could possibly be. What I'm saying is like so I'm just thinking like I know this goes deep, but also there's like a whole document about like. Like this, I forget the words elude me. But anyways, okay, so like basically like, other countries' best interest is for America to be divided. Clearly, obviously, like, we have, like, regular accounts of, like, fake Twitter accounts pretending to be, like, people of color and, like, that whole
black
sort.
woman and I love Trump.
And
yeah,
then
like
we
that
find out
sort
it's
of
a white
thing.
man. That whole thing.
Yeah, or
if
a bot.
people are being paid to spread, because also, like, people are so acclimated to rage baiting now and get so worked up. And, like, also now our culture is very black or white. It's, like, we have to have a big response. Like, the play date thing. Yeah, like, is this real or not? Like, you just paid me my Venmo because they made a fake story, if that's even the case.
Yeah.
So, like, it's just like that. So, like, what if there was, like, an entity pushing bad dating advice to men in the U.S. because it also keeps them fucking, deranged and angry.
Yeah.
Because that's good.
Yes.
To keep people fucking, and makes people violent.
Yes.
So, like, what if this is, like, happening?
Yeah.
Like, we're getting bad dating advice pushed out to, like,
I would not be surprised by that at all.
Yeah, people who are easily, what's the word when you're easy to...
Like, very volatile.
Yeah, volatile and, like, succumb to, like, peer pressure? Or what's the...
yeah, they're, like, very... Yeah.
I can think of, like, every word except the simple
suggestible,
word.
very, like... Yeah. Gullible.
Yeah. And that sort of thing. So, like, what if it's, like, this... I don't know. I'm just putting those pieces together because that's, like... crazy, but also at the same time, I'm like, that's not that far off.
No, it's really not.
Because we asked the question, sorry, I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
We asked the question, like, how are these people, like, there's no way these people actually believe this, or like that one dude with the beard who like, how to talk to women.
Alpha male, dom, or whatever.
We did a video reaction to them, but we're like, there's no way this is real advice. Like, there's no way you've done this. There's no way this has worked in real life.
No,
it's like, so why are you creating this content?
Yes,
like,
exactly.
I just refuse to believe, like, these people are so, but also then I'm at the same time, like, are they so entrenched in these views?
I mean, yes, there's definitely those people, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of, like, fake information that's being,
you know what I'm saying?
Suggested to people who are already misogynist.
Like when you Google something.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's, like, really that far off because we already know that there's a lot of, like, propaganda from Russia or otherwise that's being fed to people on the internet. Like the homesteading to QAnon pipeline,
yes, that's
right?
what I'm saying. Like the live your farmland fantasies.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, that's a real thing, right? Like the divine feminine to QAnon pipeline, right? Yes. And the like, I mean, even just regular conservative to QAnon pipeline. And so it wouldn't surprise me if there's like a misogyny to QAnon pipeline. Because in essence, that boils down to a conspiracy theory that ultimately benefits, I mean, not the United States for sure. It benefits people like Donald Trump and, like, the pedophilic elite. But it also benefits people who are trying to, like, fuck around with the United States government. So I don't think that's, like, really that much of a stretch, honestly, that there's, like, purposefully bad information being fed to people who are already misogynist to try to further, like, activate them to be violent and like, you know, because the other thing, we can't really talk about this on the pod because we'll get, what do you call it, suppressed into YouTube demonetization hell. But the issue of like violence in schools, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
That kind of, what is the word I'm looking for?
Because clearly a demographic.
There's a word that I'm looking for, and it's not activation.
I feel like that has been me all fucking episode.
Also, the brain fog from the medications that I'm on, I want you guys to know, I was like, I think I have a brain tumor for like a while because I can't think. My brain.
Realized, oh wait, this started when you started taking your meds.
Yeah, no, it's because these meds
are suppressing your nervous
enough
system.
to like sedate a horse.
Yeah.
What is the word? Radicalize. Whoo, I found it.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, it's beneficial to people like Russia and other people that are like, you know, fascists.
Yeah.
To radicalize already violent and misogynistic people.
Yeah.
You know, that's like really not that crazy, I don't think.
Thanks for making me not feel crazy.
I was really afraid that this was turning into the 4B movement is Russian propaganda, and I was like, baby, no.
No, I think it's because women tend
to
like actually look within.
Yes.
And like I think that's why I think the Plath thing is kind of an interesting microcosm.
Yeah.
But like for a larger issue because like Olivia did all of this unlearning. Olivia grew up in the same society and viewpoints as Ethan did.
Absolutely, she did.
But like this, I think it's just so clear when like one person is willing to do the work and the learning and the unlearning, and like the other person is so committed to their belief system that there's no room for any.
Yes.
Because also there's so many things I feel like they could have easily adjusted their, which is why it's just interesting. Like the 4B movement, like it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah. Well, I think that's the other thing too that's kind of interesting is that men who are, you know, like cis men who are willing to do the work and unlearn all of these things.
Yeah.
Not just in a fundamentalist religious context, but just in the view, like the realm of misogyny generally. It seems like a lot of times people who are unlearning that are often being prompted to do it by the women in their lives. It does happen that they just independently unlearn these things, obviously, but it does seem like a lot of times there are people who are like part of a married couple or who are being prompted by family or other people to just kind of like, hey, stop that, right? Like maybe look within. And then they do the work, obviously, and become better people. But for people who are isolated already, it seems like that's kind of less likely, or especially for those people when they're surrounded by other men who are like really violent. Like I think that's why the Plath family is so fucked up.
Okay.
Because like Kim is such a pick-me, and also just like a liar, and a hypocrite about like a bunch of things. But like all of the men in the Plath family are not like physically violent, obviously, but like emotionally and through their beliefs about women, they're sort of like violently enforcing those on the people around them.
Which is wild. It's also wild to see it play out again with Micah and his girlfriend. Like,
I know, I'm very curious about that. I don't think that's going to go well.
Did you find anything on the 4B movement that you wanted to share? Or?
I did, yeah. Okay, so 4B, or 4 No's, is a radical feminist movement which is purported to have originated in South Korea in 2019. Its proponents refuse to date men, get married, have sex with men, or have children. The tenets, so the 4 no's of the 4B movement.
Okay, there's like a little,
no sex with men, no giving birth or no children, no dating men, and no marriage with men. So that's like the sort of 4, that's why it's called the 4B movement.
Okay.
But yeah, it did start in Korea. I thought I remembered that, but I wasn't sure.
That's what I was thinking. I couldn't remember exactly which.
Yeah. And it has gained a lot of traction here, especially with people who are, you know, I think more... not like chronically online, but just like more online.
Yeah.
And especially people who are being more involved in feminist spaces and especially leftist spaces and stuff, you know? It's kind of like first of all, we don't need you and like we don't want to have that in our lives because it's just volatile and scary and dangerous. But also, again, kind of like the protest thing of like, we're not doing this anymore, you know? And I think it's interesting too, because a lot of the response from misogynistic men to things like the 4B movement have been like there was this TikTok that we watched a while ago of some man being like, well, you know, if y'all don't want to be alone, then you're just going to have to settle because this is the way that we are. And so, you know, get over yourselves and you're just going to have to pick one of us because we might not be great, but, you know, we're all that you have. And like the 4B movement response is to be like, okay, no.
And I feel like
I'm opting out then.
Yes.
Which I think is great.
Yeah. And I think it's that thing too where like we see couples who are like, oh, we've been married 60, 70 years because they got married in the fucking 40s and 50s.
Yes.
And it's like, are you together because you want to be together?
Or because no-fault divorce didn't exist.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And also, too, it's no surprise to me, too, that, like, Republican lawmakers are trying to bring back...
Get rid of no-fault divorce, but also that, like, women couldn't have credit cards by themselves until the fucking 70s. You couldn't have a bank account. And like, of course they were together for that whole time. Where were they going to go?
Also,
where were they going to go?
Honest to God, if I was having to date intentionally and to, like, get married and to make a family and stuff or whatever, and I was aware of the areas which I would not be willing to settle in, like, I would fucking swear off men too.
Yes.
After, like, just the the interactions, the many interactions you've had. It never ends. It's always disappointing.
Bad. It's always disappointing. The worst is the men who fancy themselves feminists and talk about how they're like so leftist and so liberal and we're like so with it and all this stuff, and then turn out to be selfish and fucking gross and misogynistic, and then you bring that to their attention and they're like, well, not me. No, but I'm a feminist. Look, I have painted nails. I could never be a misogynist.
And like,
reverse,
like,
you are.
It's just like being a reverse pick me. Like,
yes.
It's not,
Ooh, it's so annoying. It drives me bananas because it's just like, I don't know. I feel like unless you're willing to do the introspection about yourself and be like aware of the fact, it's very, to me, it seems very similar to like anti-racism work.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like
Talk more about that.
the fallacy of like I'm one of the good ones. Yes. Like I'm one of the good whites. And like, no, you're not. No, you're not. No. Like none of us as white people get to escape the fact that we are actively benefiting from the oppression of black and brown people. That's just like baked into the way that our lives are.
Yeah.
And so you don't get to like post a few things on Instagram and be like,
I changed my profile picture.
I did it. I'm better. Yeah. Like I'm one of the good ones. Like give me applause now. Like you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
That's not what that's about. You know, it's like a continual journey of like recognizing and being aware of the fact that like, oh, I fucked it up again, you know, and that's just part of the gig.
Like that when feminism, it's like, it's essentially the same thing. It's like, oh, I don't see color.
Yes.
Like, no, that's not what we're saying. That's not what we're saying. That's wrong idea.
Wrong avenue.
Yes.
Go flip a Yui. Go back.
No, not like that.
You need to pick a different turn. Yeah, I think it's really interesting seeing Olivia unlearn all of this stuff in real time too, because
it is.
Plathville's not as behind as some of the other shows.
I didn't realize that
on Discovery or TLC or whatever.
And I know this will be like the 5th week in a row we're talking about it, but I think generally, like, I think we should have some like relationship.
Yeah.
We should go over some of our things we've done in our relationship.
Ooh, yes.
To help unlearn.
I love that idea.
Because I did used to do that. Like, I would use, like, taking care of the cars, taking care of the outside of the house.
Very acts of service-y.
Yes, it is very acts of service-y. Yeah. And I think that's why the love language stuff is kind of fucked.
Yes.
In a way, because...
It was also written by a religious fundamentalist, for what it's worth. Fuck that guy.
So especially fucked.
Yeah.
But also, too, like, you can, like, do I like when you do acts of service for me? Yes, but normally, like, in the... It's like a twofold. Like, are the acts of service nice? I can't remember where we talked about this. Maybe we talked about it on stream. But like,
might have, yeah.
Are they nice? But they're nice because they create an opportunity for us to spend more time.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely,
we're not getting the whole picture. Like, having it watered down isn't enough. Like,
no.
It's in the interest of ultimately, like, all things that we do are in the interest of getting to spend more time with each other.
And not just, like, spend time together in a performative or, like the in theory way, but spend time together in a way that is emotionally connected and emotionally intimate.
Yes.
Right? It's not just, like, I want to spend time with you, like, you know, not paying attention to each other or, like, you know, spending time together. Like, I know that sitting on the couch and watching TV and whatever is like a valid way to spend time together. We do that a lot.
We do that so much, yeah.
But like not just like staring at our phones and like avoiding each other kind of thing, but like watching a show together that we both have an emotional investment in, and then talking about it afterwards, right? And sharing our excitement about that, and getting to be like nerdy and silly about that, and like make jokes and about something. Share like, you know, okay, let's have like a little snack together, and you know, like all of that sort of serves this purpose of emotional connection. It's not just the sort of point blank, like, you know, oh, well, we're spending time together. It's just, it's not spending time together in the checklist way.
Yes.
Is what I'm saying.
You know what's so funny? I was just going to say this too. This is kind of a silly, this is a great, we're on the back and the up and up, less depressed now. I think our relationship so incredibly improved when I started eating sweets with you.
Absolutely it did.
I think, because like on the reg now.
Wait, yes, I want to talk about this.
Because on the reg now I'm like, so.
Are we making a
we're
Pizookie?
Like, it's 7 o'clock. like, so we're having.
It's Pizookie o'clock,
you want
right?
to go get ice cream, right? Like, we're like, I mean.
Yeah. Also, that's a good bubble. As a fun fact, if you have an air fryer and you have access to pre-made cookie dough, you can make a pizookie so easily.
Oh, you make that bitch fat and it'll be all gooey in the middle.
Like a good handful of cookie dough in the air fryer.
M&Ms?
Yeah, we churched up with M&Ms and stuff too. We put that in the air fryer at 325 for 17 to 20 minutes, and then
depending on how gooey you like.
Voila, it's a pizookie. So that's your fun fact for today. But
voila.
We
and you leave it on the foil, and you don't even got to do any fucking dishes.
Yes, it's so great. This is something we have talked about in our relationship, though, which is that I think men don't know how to leisure.
I have learned how. I'm so ready for fall, so I can leisure. I've been waiting to leisure.
And this was made very evident to me by the fact that we hung out for a little while with some of your friends recently.
Yeah.
And it was an interesting thing because to me, we had a day set aside to do some just sort of lounging, right? We were gonna go hang out and go. I'm trying to be vague because I don't want to tell you guys too much about our life.
That didn't necessarily have a identified activity.
Yeah. Where there was a few, it was that thing where you're okay,
very beach day
today
vibes.
We want to do thing A, thing B, and thing C.
Yep.
Right? And so that's all we have all day. And we have plenty of time, we're just going to sort of leisure our way through these things. But it was okay, thing A, as an example, let's say that thing A was getting food, thing B was having oh my God, you owe Gustafer an apology.
Sorry.
Thing B was I don't know, doing a crossword puzzle, and thing C was getting drinks at a bar, right?
Yes.
We would show up, eat super fast, we're done, get out of here, crossword puzzle, get it done, we're out of here, sit down at the bar, and then that became the activity really, because there were sports, but it was just really interesting to me that I was we've got plenty of time, y'all. We don't have to rush around. But it was a strange thing where in this group of men, it was okay, we got this thing, checked it off. It was almost I kept telling you, it reminded me of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, where they go to the Grand Canyon and they go and they look at it and they go, well, okay, and they get back in the car. That's what it was like. And I think it's because men don't know how to leisure. It's this very strange, activity and action oriented view about life. And it robs you of this joy of getting to just be still for a minute and not just be the activity, And so in the time that we've been together, you have gotten so much better at okay, let's just sit down.
I didn't own a pair of sweats until a couple years ago.
Yeah, but now
what's wrong with me?
We'll sit down and we'll watch a movie or watch a TV show,
and blankies.
We get a blanket, we put our sweats on, and we get the lights real low. Yeah. We get a little sweet treat. Yes. It's so leisurey and fun and nice, and I think
and some coffee or tea.
Yes, yeah. One of your friends does this to us too when we play D&D. He will stand there with his
shoes on
and his little crossbody bag on the whole time, and I'm dog, stay a while,
please
relax. The last time we played D&D was for 8 hours, and he stood like that for almost a full 8 hours, and I was are you okay? Do you need something, or what is going on over there? But it is just a very male thing of not knowing how to leisure, you know? I think over the course of our marriage, we've had a lot of intentional conversations about it that I don't want you to be present in our relationship as a checklist item. Yeah. I want you to really be here with me, you know? And stop stop while you're doing this thing, stop trying to think about the next thing that we're going to do. Yeah. Be present in this moment with me now, and we'll worry about the thing that we're doing next. I think for what it's worth, it's also an older child thing, though. It's the thing where because you're the we've talked about this before because we've gotten in arguments before.
Talk about it,
where even something as simple as oh, are you hungry? And I'll be yeah, and I'll be well, where do you want to eat? And for you, sometimes that feels like me telling you that you have to decide where we're both eating. But really what I'm asking you is what's your preference? Because I know what mine is, but I'm just making space for you to tell me yours, and then we'll discuss that and make a decision as a team. But because you're this very oldest child energy of it's your job,
it's my decision now.
Make the plan and tell everybody what we're doing, that it's hard for you to idle down.
God,
and so our relationship has improved so much in you being able to be oh no, it's not my job, right? We're a team, we'll figure that out together later. But for right now, our goal as a couple is to just be present in this moment for the two of us. And it is just it's a strange thing, because I think it sounds sort of silly from the outside, but it does make you feel very emotionally cared for to have someone just be like locked in, you know, with what we're doing right now.
That's the other thing too. I think like just I know we keep using it. This is why reality TV is.
It's a good learning vehicle. I stand by this. Yes.
But also like Micah complaining about the chores and stuff too. Like, why would you not just want to do them together?
That was
like,
the literal first thing I said on stream.
Because also too because also I feel like men do the thing where like, oh, I have to go do this fucking chore, even though they secretly want to do the chore anyways. But then they'll be like, you know, like use it as ammunition later or something. But like, if you were just doing it together, then there's no resentment to be built there. Then you know what I'm saying? Like I've had to take. Because obviously, like, stuff doesn't get done exactly when I want it and exactly the way I want to a lot of times, and like same for you. But like also, if we're just doing the thing together, then like we're just in it together.
Then it's fine. Yeah.
Literally.
No, exactly. Yeah. I think projects and stuff like that are a useful way to like circumvent the like, you know, ammunition and like resentment around chores, obviously. Yeah. But to some degree, it does also feel like there's a desire in this like very misogynistic circle of men to lean into the like physical act of like performing a chore as opposed to having to have this conversation about their emotions or whatever.
Yes,
like they will obviously
anything but that.
That's the power washing the gutters thing, right? Like I don't want to be inside because that might subject me to these conversations about like, hey, what do you think about like this table setting versus that table setting? If I fuck off outside and mow the lawn all day, I don't have to think or feel. I can just avoid my emotions.
You can just be.
Yeah, which is so fucked.
Especially when it's at the expense of your partner when they're expressing to you.
Well, and also at the expense of yourself.
Yeah.
That's the thing that is so wild to me. I think that's also part of the conversation of why misogyny fucks everybody.
Literally,
you know? Because, I mean, having the lack of emotional regulation and emotional processing because you're afraid of your emotions because all your buddies will think you're effeminate and bad is also, like, you know, causing detrimental health issues in men. Like, it's not a coincidence that men die earlier. Yeah. You know, for like varying reasons, obviously. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's actually another thing that has improved our relationship. What? Us being more like, I don't know, I guess me being more forthright about like, I don't want you to do, I want you to feel now. Yeah. And for you to like become more comfortable with like because it's very much like an anxiety thing of like, if I keep myself busy, then I don't have to think. I don't have to feel.
I talk about that all the time. I'm like, ooh, I don't want to sit too long with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but you becoming more comfortable with being like, okay, I guess I'll sit with that has improved our relationship like tenfold. I
think that's the thing too, is like looking back on it now too, like the changes that needed to get made in our relationship for us both to feel happy and comfortable and like committed and like in it. Yeah. Also, oh my God, I can't believe someone used a clip of us on the pod. We got put in a video.
I forgot about that.
Let me finish this.
Find their channel name.
Yeah, because it was in a video about
Matt and Abby.
But I also love about that. Like especially when like I see other people's sets and stuff. Like I'm so very thankful for like this just doesn't look like anyone else, and I'm fine with that. I'm so happy with. I'm actually very proud of it.
Me too.
But no, looking back on it while you're doing that is just it's so funny. The things that needed to get adjusted weren't that big of a deal.
No.
Like they really, I think that's the thing too, is like people, I think that's also why therapy is kind of interesting too in that way, is like you can go to therapy. I feel like therapy helps hold you accountable, obviously. Yeah. But it's just like practice. It's just like getting, like feeling your emotions are just like repetitions with anything else. It's just like teaching yourself to draw or color.
I was literally going to say it's like learning a sport, but just with your brain.
Learning a language or anything. Like you just have to practice it. Like you just have to practice feeling what that feels like, feeling where you feel it, and like learning what to do with that.
Yes,
you know?
like moving through it. Yeah, instead of running away from it.
Yeah, it's like not that big of an ask, but it's just something that needs practice.
Yes. Yeah.
You know?
It's something that I think vastly improves your life. And I know that therapy is not a resource that's accessible to everyone, obviously. But it is really similar, I think, to hiring somebody to like vocal lessons or like, you know, learning a sport or something.
It's a skill.
Yes. It serves the purpose of like holding you accountable and also giving you somebody to ask these questions of like, okay, well, I tried the thing that you said and it didn't fucking work. So like help me learn how to do this thing in a way that's like specifically makes sense to my brain. Well, and you like move through that together. Yes.
And I feel like it's that thing where like women raise their daughters and love their men. Or love their boys.
No, that was not the phrase.
What's the phrase?
About parenting.
Yes.
We raise our daughters and love our sons.
You got help me got it there.
It's a product of misogyny.
Which makes sense then why women who are in their like time to like find a partner and stuff are fucking tired of doing like
they're tired of raising children because they raise themselves and they raise their siblings and they raise their parents. Yeah. Yes. They're over it. They don't want to raise another man. No, and they also don't want to be put in the position to be a mommy to their partner. Because like fucking ew, no one finds their partner sexually attractive if you view them as like a child that you have to caretake. But B, that's fucking exhausting.
Yeah.
The agreement for most
and to have
people
kids on top.
The agreement for most people, when you choose to partner in a like long-term, like, you know, cohabitating and like, you know, entangled kind of way, is that we're a team, bitch.
Literally.
You don't get to be fucking like I'm the leader and you're like underneath.
No. Second in command.
No. We're not doing that. Especially when it comes coupled with this expectation that I'm subservient to you somehow. That I have to like cook 3 meals a day and clean everything and take care of the kids and make sure that I'm pretty and thin and beautiful and I'm wearing my makeup and I snap back after I have kids and that everything is all situated and organized so that all you have to do is come home with your dick in your hand and eat the meal that I made you. I don't think so. That's not like, it's not surprising to me that women are like, opt out.
I don't want to fucking do that
Pass.
anymore. Yeah.
I don't want that.
Like, check a box.
Who would
I will
want
not
that?
be doing that.
Ew.
Also, one last thought real quick. I think it's so funny, the dichotomy of products. You were talking about this on stream, I think, too, of products that are like, men are so dumb. Here's the thing to help them.
Yes.
But also like, men should be in charge of everything.
Yes.
Man not smart enough to use cleaning product, but man run country.
But also this is like part of why that belief system gets upheld. I took a whole course in college about like the impact of misogyny and gender roles in like the social discourse and especially in like mental health. And it was like the most illuminating and amazing course I've ever taken. But they talked about how detrimental the passive language is that we use to speak about gendered expectations, because it's not, people often will point to these like, you know, big, like to use like therapy words like big T, like as opposed to big T trauma or little T trauma, right? Like these big moments that people make sweeping and like explicit statements about gender as being like the problem. And it's not. It's small things like how we call men and women girls, you know, and how like in product advertisements, we advertise to women by saying it will make your life easier. It will make it faster for you to accomplish all the things that you have to do. But for men, it's so simple that even a man could do it, you know, and like that men babysit their kids and that men get to be like silly and like we
the fun parent
uphold. Men are the fun parent and we uphold this societal expectation, the king of queens thing.
Literally the king
you know,
of queens.
How like she is the put together, organized, mature one and he's just like the hapless little guy. Like, no. All of that passive language that we use informs this greater societal belief about how it's women's job to hold everything together, keep it all nailed down, make it all good and organized and run smoothly and so efficient that a man would never even notice that you're working so hard behind the scenes to make all of this perfect and also look pretty. Put a smile on. Can't you put some lipstick on? You look like a corpse. Like all of this, like literally, that attitude is part of why people are opting out of these relationships, because like no one wants to do that. No one wants to fucking do that.
Yeah.
And of course we don't want to do that. Okay. Also, the YouTube channel that used a clip of us is called Crooked Timber. They put up a video about Matt and Abby's like history and also Colleen Ballinger and like that kind of a thing.
Mickey was just watching YouTube on the TV.
I literally clicked on it for the TV.
Mickey was like, babe. Get out here.
In my ratty, like at home clothes, just like, you know, like watching YouTube on the TV so I could hang out with the dog. And I like shrunk into the couch. Like I got jump scared, like on candid camera. And then I called you out into the living room and I was like, you're not going to believe this.
I was like, oh no, what happened?
No, it was a really good video, though. It was really good. I highly recommend it. Go watch Crooked Timber's video about Matt and Abby, because it was an interesting watch. There was a lot of stuff about Matt and Abby that I did not know. We might have to revisit that subject, because I thought this tested our marriage by staying in the hospital for 48 hours was the worst of it, and that's probably the most surface
I feel like
level.
We've seen more. I thought
there was some stuff in there that I like. My jaw was on the floor. They are not well.
Couldn't be me.
No, could not be me. Yeah, I just think it's, I don't know. Actually, what are some other things? Do you think there's anything else in our relationship that we've improved? I can think of one other thing.
Being more open.
Do you want me to talk about my thing?
Yeah, I think I got all my, that last one, I think I got all my big ones out that I think like really would be helpful. The
thing that I think came to mind for me, we talked about this in couples therapy. It's also a really commonly discussed dynamic in couples work generally. Hold on, my mouth is all... You know when you drink something cold and then you have a bunch of saliva? Just me? Okay. There's like a bunch of saliva in your mouth.
It might be the milk?
After you drink something. Maybe it's there's like too much flavor in there. I don't know. That's the whitest thing I ever said.
That PSL is way
so
too seasoned.
The pursuer-withdrawer dynamic comes up a lot. And so
I pursue now. I'm like a fucking shark. I'm like,
true.
You want a conflict resolved? We'll fucking resolve this conflict.
That's true. Actually, you do kind of do that sometimes. In the early part of our...
I didn't used to be clear. I used to be very much...
No, yeah. Well, in the early part of our marriage, because you hadn't unlearned this like fear of dealing with your own emotions and stuff, it would become this dynamic where I'd be like, why don't you see me? Like, why won't you talk to me? Like, why? I just want to feel like you see my emotions.
Just tell me what you're fucking thinking.
And you would like run away, right? Yeah. And so
withdraw.
Yes, but so that also correlated with me being less available to do things that were important to you, like doing the laundry and like practical chores and like all of the stuff around the house. And I would just sort of be like, because I felt like I wasn't getting my like emotional needs met. And so we were like sort of drifting apart and drifting back together and drifting apart and drifting back together. And after we had done this work to sort of emotionally set our shit right now, there's like way less resentment in our relationship. And so both of us like jump at this opportunity now to be like, okay, like let me do this thing that I know that is going to be valuable to you, or be like, you know,
I want to do like,
yes, exactly.
So much like that's what I'm saying. When you just do, also, it's just that thing too, where like if you go and have a meal and your friend pays for your food, and it was like $17, then the next time you go out and eat and it's like $25, and you're like, okay, whatever,
close
like,
enough.
You'll get me next time.
Yes,
it's not that deep.
Exactly.
Like I know you got my back.
I feel like we kind of have that like attitude now in our relationship much more readily than we did before, because we're both sort of like at different times getting our primary wants and needs addressed. And also like if you are struggling or like you're really busy, like this week at work for you is going to be really busy. So I know that like most of the labor for taking care of the dogs and like the house and all of that is going to sort of end up on my plate, but it's like fine. Like because
then as soon as you need...
Yeah. Well, because once we settle back into normal, then we're going to sort of like find our equilibrium again, you know, and it's not like there's a feeling of like, well, great, now I'm going to have to do all this stuff, and I'm going to have to chase you down to get you to see my emotions about it. I just know that you're going to be like available to unpack that with me and like be receptive to me being like these fucking pets, you know, and like, God damn it, I hate cleaning this house. And you're just going to be like, instead of feeling like I'm accusing you or being like, this is because of you, you're just going to understand that like those are my emotions about like the situation.
Completely valid.
Yeah. And you're like much more open to receive that and be like, absolutely. Yeah. And fuck also, those dogs. You know, no, I'm just kidding. But like, I think it's just like nice to see the like exchange there and like, as opposed to this like running in circles thing. Also, to be clear, for clarification purposes, we love the dogs. Yes, of course. They're just a lot. I cannot imagine having kids and dogs and pets. I think it's also the thing, we've talked about this privately, but you leave the house for your job. Yes. I work from home. So when I see you guys on Fridays for live stream, that's usually the first time in the week that I've left the house. Like, I don't really leave the house very often, and especially right now, because I'm not leaving a dog with a broke-ass leg at home by herself, especially while she's sad and she's bored. And so I'll sit and, like, body double with her, essentially, because she whines. She cries. Yeah. When you and I are in the bedroom for too long in the morning getting ready, she's in the living room. Yeah, she goes, like, she gets so upset. So, like, she wants to be where the people are. Yeah, so I don't really leave the house very often, which I think if you've ever been like a stay-at-home parent or somebody who like in the early stages of like raising a child, I know that my dog is not at all an equivalent to that. I'm just saying it's like probably that, but like with the volume turned down. It's a very similar feeling where you're just like, I haven't talked to anybody all week. I haven't had human contact all week. The only people that the only people that I talk to are my clients.
Yeah.
And so I'm like feeding out, which is not, it's not social interaction. It's also professional. And it's also me like doing heavy emotional work for someone else. And so like, other than like FaceTiming my friends, I'm not really having like human social interaction except for you. So yes, we do very much love our dogs. And also it is that feeling where you're just like, I'm ready to fucking climb the walls, man.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta get out of here. It's kind of that thing where like sometimes going to get my Target pickup order, I'm like, I'll die.
The sun.
I'm gonna go die. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm like, how's your day going? Are you doing okay? How are you?
Like, wow, you are so chatty.
Like asking cashiers questions and like, really, it's fine. You can,
like,
you should
can you
go.
just please take your stuff? You're like, I finished checking you out 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, no. So yes, of course we love our pets, and it's not that we like dislike them or hate them or anything. It's just that there's, I think, an emotional difficulty sometimes in being locked at home.
I wish I could just tell them or just communicate to them, like just even a
all
little bit.
the time. Oh my God,
like,
all the
fill
time.
You in, please.
I have legitimately contemplated buying those buttons, the ones that you talk to your dogs. We would never, because Olivia's would just be like ball, 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 ball all day, and Savannah's would be like treats.
Yeah,
treats.
food.
Yeah. So we would never. But I do wish that we could, so that I could communicate rudimentary concepts to them of like
we'll be right back.
Grocery shopping, roughly an hour or two.
Like, 1 hour-ish.
Don't freak out. Also, we have a camera. I can see you.
Yeah.
Like, you're fine. It's okay.
Literally.
But anyways, we should wrap this shit up because we've been yamming for a while. Yeah. Thanks for letting me yam on. I know I talked probably more than you did this week, but
I don't think so. I think it was pretty...
Okay.
I feel pretty even about it.
All right, that's fair. Thank you for listening to us yap this week. If you guys like the podcast, you can like the videos. Yes.
I was going to say, let us know what works with your relationship.
Yes.
Yeah,
tell us things. Tell us the growth that you've had in your relationship. What's made a big difference for y'all. And also encourage each other. Be nice to each other. If you like the episodes, you can like the episodes. You can leave us 5-star reviews and leave us comments for Al Gore's rhythm. And you can subscribe. What?
Al Gore's rhythm?
Yeah, Al Gore rhythm.
Okay, just keep doing the outro.
You can subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next week for the next episode. Okay, bye.
Bye.